This life water is not giving you life. That's all I got to say. This isn't smart water. It doesn't taste good.
You bought it.
Well, we were in a water crisis, so that's why I bought it.
Crisis is a strong word.
We didn't get those bottles of water until Thursday. We ran out of water on Sunday.
Okay.
Anyways, hi out there. How's everyone doing? Happy day. Happy day.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode.
My name is Manny.
And I'm Shawn.
And together we form the Moss Podcast. Welcome back to another episode. We were just talking about this water I bought on Amazon.
He's not drinking today, y'all.
I haven't been drinking since we got back from Virgin, okay? It's not to say that I drink a lot on Virgin. It's just I have chosen not to drink because I'm trying to cut my carbs, unnecessary calories. I want to look good for a vacation that's coming up. But yes, welcome back. We appreciate you coming back and joining us here on episode 23. Wowzers.
Big episode.
Well, I mean, it's not a milestone, but it's...
23, some people have 5 episodes of their podcast.
True, we've come a long way. But yeah, welcome back. If you're new here, thank you for joining us. We hope you'll go back and listen to our other 22 episodes.
Yeah, some of them are entertaining. Most of them are entertaining.
Even our most serious ones, we tend to somehow end up laughing about something. And if you are on this journey with us, thank you once again for following us and enjoying us playing through your car radio to where your neighbors in the adjacent lanes may hear us. Just put a sticker up and let them know what you're listening to.
Oh my God.
Ooh, child, we in February.
Yeah, it's Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month. Even though certain states are trying to erase, we will still acknowledge Black History Month.
A lot of the red states.
A lot of those red states are really trying to get rid of history and create their own history. But if you want more information on that, go on back to episode 22 where we talk about it. So how have you been, sir?
I've been good. This has been a good week. Wrapped up a project, starting a project. Things are good. How about you?
It's been a decent week. My line of work doesn't change very much from day to day. It is the same. So it's been good. It's been busy. I'm still trying to get back into not being on a Virgin voyage.
Oh my God.
But, here we are. But yeah, it's been a good week. Happy to be back here on a Friday afternoon.
Yay.
So in the spirit of a Black History Month, we are going to kick off our Celebrating Black History Month segment led by yours truly.
Me!
Yay! Take it away.
It's not because I'm the black one. Actually, it's because I'm the black one. Anyway, y'all.
I mean, I did the Latin, Hispanic Heritage.
So I have decided to elevate some historical figures, icons in the Black community and for Black History Month. I've also decided to make them queer history figures since a certain someone wants to eliminate, diminish that queer theory cannot be a part of African American studies, which is ridiculous. That just goes to show you that he ain't got no education. Anyway.
I mean, somebody gave him a degree.
The first person that I will be highlighting is James Baldwin, born 1924, passed away in 1987. He is a writer and social critic. Baldwin is perhaps best known for his 1955 collection of essays, Notes of a Native Son, and his groundbreaking 1956 novel, Giovanni's Room, which depicts themes of homosexuality and bisexuality. The novel stood out among literary critics because it features all-white characters, unlike the civil rights activists' other novels, which center the experience of Black people. Baldwin spent a majority of his literary and activist career educating others about Black and queer identity, as he did during his famous lecture titled Race, Racism, and the Gay Community at a meeting of the New York chapter of Black and White Men Together, known as Men of All Colors Together in 1982.
That's interesting. I kind of want to read that.
Go ahead, you can do it.
I wonder if it's free.
I'm sure it's free somewhere out there. If not, I'm sure you can get a trial of something.
If it's not already erased from the library.
And I will sometimes be highlighting two people during this segment. This week we're going to do two. It's the first week, kicking it off with the bang. So now I'm going to tell you about Willi Ninja, born in 1961, passed away in 2006. Ninja was a dancer, choreographer, and the grandfather of Vogue.
So sorry.
You okay over there?
Yeah, I tried to Vogue.
Okay, don't do that.
I almost knocked over the whole fucking desk.
Vogue is the dance style that he helped propel to the national stage. Voguing, characterized by angular body movements and exaggerated runway poses, was introduced to the public in the award-winning 1990 documentary Paris is Burning, which if you haven't seen that, I highly recommend it. It is a great documentary that tells the story of the history of voguing, ballroom, trans, gays, LGBTQ in New York back in the 90s. Great film. Willi Ninja appeared in Paris is Burning, and of course the song was popularized by Madonna hit 1990 song Vogue.
Vogue.
And if you know this podcast and you've been listening from the beginning, Legendary was a show on HBO Max all about voguing and ballroom, which has since been canceled because HBO is going through some transitions with Warner Brothers, but that's a whole nother story. But if you're into Vogue, then you will now know that Willi Ninja is the grandfather.
Did you say Pose too?
Oh, yes. Also Pose. We have recently started a rewatch of Pose, and I forgot how great that show is. But yes, all these things. Check out Pose. Check out Paris is Burning. Both great pieces of entertainment, and you will learn a lot about the Black queer experience.
Yes. Who needs a class? We can just watch a movie.
I mean,
most teachers just put on a movie. That's what people think.
This is true. Sadly, this is what people think.
I actually have not watched Paris is Burning.
You haven't?
I have not.
We can watch it.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I got something to read and something to watch. And just to follow up, in case you were very interested, Ronald got his law degree from Harvard University.
Girl, I don't care.
I mean, I'm just saying. I thought you might want to know. I'm surprised. I didn't know he had a law degree, honestly.
There's a whole article where someone did like a breakdown of his life from like high school to now. He was in the Navy. I didn't know that he was a lawyer, but
no wonder you can get away with so many things. He knows all the ins and outs.
That's why his mouth's so slick.
Sure is. But anyways, thank you for sharing those two individuals as we celebrate Black History Month here on the Moss podcast. I think if I'm going to go read the essay, y'all need to go read the essay and watch the movie.
Everyone read the essay.
Yeah.
And watch Paris is Burning.
We could be more informed about our queer Black history.
Which is a part of Black history. No matter what they try to say. I'm not saying you.
Oh, okay.
Them. Because y'all don't like that. Anyway.
The opposition. All right. So we're going to jump right into our ongoing topic. Did I mess it up?
No, it's fine.
Sweet. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's kick it off to the issue on the table. The table. Wow. Okay. Run at your own speed.
Okay. So this week, less of an issue, more of a review. And these will fluctuate, change depending on the topics that we want to talk about from week to week. So it might not necessarily be an issue, but
The issue we're bringing.
it's the issue we're bringing. So we're going to talk about a little hit show that came out recently called The Last of Us.
The Last of Us.
It is on HBO. If you have not seen it, you don't know what it's about, we're about to break it down for you.
Yes. And so I have to tell how I fell in love with that show, because this is not something I would normally enjoy.
Okay.
But it goes back to the video game.
Yes. The Last of Us is based on a video game by Naughty Dog. It is a PlayStation, well, it was a PlayStation exclusive game at the time, but now it is also on PC. But
PlayStation's trying to be woke. Is it PlayStation?
No, that was Xbox.
Oh, okay.
But you can do the same thing on PlayStation. So yeah, everyone's woke. It's fine.
Anyways, so that was one of few games I've actually sat and watched you play because there was such a good storyline on it. Mm-hmm. So that's where my excitement for The Last of Us came. It's the same name as the game, right?
Yeah, it's the same name.
Yeah. So I just wanted to share that piece of information. You're looking at me like, what the fuck is the matter with you right now?
But you had no idea that this was being made into a show.
I
just put it on one day.
You did.
When we got back from the cruise, because the first episode premiered while we were on Virgin Voyages.
I was just like, this looks eerily familiar.
So I put on the first episode because I was also excited to check it out. I guess let me start at the beginning. So The Last of Us is a video game. It is based on basically an outbreak in the world. The world faces a pandemic,
COVID,
which we are all familiar with at this point.
It was not as bad as COVID.
Obviously not. But it centers around an older gentleman who lost his daughter at the beginning of the outbreak, and a few years later is kind of tasked with taking a young girl under his wing and trying to get her across the country to other people that can possibly cure this outbreak because she is immune. And this is not a spoiler. This is what the premise of the game is. Mm-hmm. Joel and Ellie are your main protagonists in the game, and you are with them from the very beginnings, Joel especially, and then you meet Ellie, and then those two form a bond, and you're off into the world.
Yay. And it's interesting to watch. How many episodes have we watched?
3 episodes.
3. So it's interesting to watch how almost closely aligned it is to the game, but also has like some loose, that's not a good word, loose. It deepens some stories that we didn't see in the game.
Yeah, it diverts a little bit from the game in certain aspects. There will be 10 episodes total. There's 10 chapters in the game, so that works out. But they have stuck to the storyline for the most part, but some stories are expanded, some stories are contracted or changed just a little bit for TV, because obviously things that you do in the game might not correlate so well with the TV audience.
Right.
And there's plenty of people that haven't played the game that are watching the show for the first time. They know there is a game, but they haven't played it. And so you need to make it make sense for those people as well.
Right. That's actually a good point. I didn't even think of that as we're watching the show, is that there are people that haven't played the game or may not even be interested in playing said game, but are drawn to the show. And you really do have to make it make sense from a show point of view versus a game point of view, even though the game was a very good story.
Oh, yeah.
It was told very well through a game,
storytelling,
which is how I ended up watching you play the game, because I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm watching a mini movie in real life.
Games have come a long way from what they used to be. Yes, there's still Mario and Sonic and those types of games,
It's the
but
Mario.
there's a lot of narrative game which I like to play. Like currently I'm in the middle of playing God of War.
Not interested in
I know you're not interested in it,
Oof.
but it also is a very good father-son story.
Got it.
But yeah, games have come a long way. And most of them are like, it's like you're playing a movie, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a great show, and I recommend, if you're able to watch it, to go out and watch it. I don't really want to like what we said up to this point is, like you said, it is the plot.
Yeah.
So we haven't spoiled anything, but it's really been exciting to watch, and there is some wokeness in it. That's our friends to the right would say. In the most recent episode, it was a little wokey.
I mean,
not to me.
Yeah.
But to those
I know not to you. Yes. Actually, that episode, I saw an article that it was being review bombed by homophobes, which isn't surprising to me, because if it's not, straight heteros making out
not worth
on
it.
TV.
It's not allowed.
It's not allowed.
It's dirty. It's gross.
Yeah, I will try not to spoil things. I will say that one of the major things that they changed for TV was how you get infected. Because in the game, there are spores in the air. And so a lot of times during the game, in certain sections, you have to wear a gas mask to keep from breathing them in. On the show, they have changed it to where the cordyceps, the fungus, has like these tentacles.
Oh my God, they were very scary.
And they use those to latch on to people that way.
Right.
And another change is that it's kind of a hive mind or one mind, where they're able to communicate, through the infected people. So like you can step on a line and it can wake up people, miles away from you to come exactly where you are.
That's wild.
So that is a different change from the game.
Yeah, and I can see where in the game, I don't think you conceptualize that very well. Whereas in a more of a show point, that comes off better.
Yeah.
And it creates more drama in a visual of like a show, because it's like, are they going to step on something? Right. Is it going to wake up the whole neighborhood of zombies? Like, a question I had though, are they all infected? It's not like The Walking Dead where they're all infected.
It is definitely not like The Walking Dead. You can only be infected if you're bitten.
Got it.
In this world, as we saw in the second episode, we kind of see how this all started. And one of the bodies on the table, or one of the first people to be infected, we see she has a bite on her leg. And so, yeah, it's different from The Walking Dead. And the other thing that is different is that though the infected they will attack you, they're not doing that in order to eat you.
Right.
It is more so to pass along the infection.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Or as I'm watching it, I didn't even think that, The Walking Dead, the point of attacking you is to eat you, whereas in this one, it's passing on the infection.
Right. Because the infected people are technically still alive. The fungus has taken over their body and their mind to control their body, but the person is technically still in there somewhere. Right. They just don't have any control over what they're doing.
Right. It's a great show. I recommend everybody watching it. Was there anything else we wanted to talk about it?
No, I will just say great casting. Pedro Pascal plays Joel, and Bella Ramsey plays Ellie. She is you might know her from Game of Thrones, the original Game of Thrones. Pedro Pascal is in everything. So The Mandalorian, I know him from Narcos. He's in a ton of things. But I will say, like, having played the game and having watched only 3 episodes now. Like, they are doing a great job of sticking to the source material, as well as taking the show in a different direction when some gameplay things wouldn't make sense for TV.
Right. And that's where I applaud them. Not that I watch very many video games to movies or TV shows to video games, but if you've never played the game, you wouldn't even know that it was loosely based on a video game.
Yeah.
Because it feels like its own drama, essentially.
And for the people that have played the game, you see all the things. Like, the clickers and the clicker noise
is very close to the game.
Spot on.
Yeah. And the way they move is just like I remember watching them in the game.
It is a very... that noise is terrifying. If you play the game, you would understand how much anxiety that noise gives people.
That actually brings me a question, though. Are the clickers the same, or is it an offspring or whatever that word is?
So the clickers are basically an evolved version of an infected person. And then there's also another evolvement from what a clicker is. They are called, oh my God, booster? No, whatever. We'll see them in the next episode, I believe. They're much bigger than the clickers.
I think they were in a video game, right?
Yes.
I do remember that. But yeah, that was just my question, because most of them are the traditional zombies.
Yeah.
And then there's the clickers. But that's where I was like, so they're different from the other ones because they have a whole different mentality, essentially, I guess, the way they respond to, because they don't see people, right?
Right. They can't see. They
use by
sound. Sonar.
So
that's why they click like that. Yeah.
Not like that.
Not like that.
They do it much better than I do. They're much more eloquent.
They're called bloaters.
Bloaters.
We'll see them in the next episode, I believe.
They're pretty cool. I wouldn't want to see one in real life, but they're pretty cool.
No.
They've done a really good job with the show, and I recommend everybody watch it. If you're a homophobe, or if you don't like what people are wording now as woke, then this might not be the show for you. But you might also not be listening to this podcast. But did you know that the game is based loosely also on a real life fungus?
I didn't know.
You didn't know?
I did know.
You didn't know?
I don't know. Continue.
So the cordyceps, as you say, is actually a real life fungus that actually does the same thing to insects, such as ants and spiders. And I saw this on TikTok on it's like one of these news things I follow, and they did like a little 2-minute documentary, and they show the ant being taken over by the fungus.
Yeah.
And when I relate it to one of the scenes that we saw, it was person to person. Obviously, it wasn't insect to insect or fungus to insect, whatever. That's very confusing. I was like, oh my God, this is gross. But the fact that how it just took over the ant, the fungus took over the ant, and the ant just stops being able to control itself, and then to see it in the show, it's kind of wild to me. Yeah. Scientists have assured us that this could never happen in real life.
Never say never.
But much like the show, the fungus will drain the body of the insect and fill it with spores, and then they will go off and spread their seed to... I probably shouldn't have said that way. They will go on to spread the gift of cordyceps to other insects. And that's kind of how it keeps evolving in the wild.
Chris.
I don't remember where specifically the fungus is in the world. I kind of forgot that, and I did not write it down. -2 points for me. But I think it's kind of wild that it does exist. It may not be to the extent of the game, but that something like that exists.
I mean, in this world that they have set up, I mean, the fungus evolved.
Right.
And it evolved over time to where it could survive in a human host. And then it took nothing but for it to be in the food supply to spread to the entire world, which is crazy.
So, funny that you say that, because scientists say that it's impossible for this fungus to become a reality like on the show. But they say because the human body, the temperature would not allow it to recreate, reproduce, or be taken over. But one scientist did note that if climate change continues and the world gets hotter and the human temperature gets warmer, there may be a possibility.
I mean, that's literally the first episode. That's literally the first 5 minutes of the show.
Yeah, so the scientists said that, but then they're like, no, this can't happen. But, as we see climate change, for those of us that have a brain and use common sense, we know climate change will lead to something pretty extravagant to our world, whether it's in our lifetime or somebody else's lifetime. Climate change will have an effect. Like I read somewhere where the human body temperature is already regulated a little bit warmer. So when they take your temperature to determine whether you have a fever or not, there's been a slight shift in it. Body temperatures being normally a little bit warmer than what they were many years ago. So when I read that, I'm like, how far away are we from this potential? But I thought it was interesting. It's an interesting story, game, and show.
It is, and they have already been renewed for season 2, which the creators say will be focused on the second game, which is much longer and bigger, so they may split it into 2 seasons.
Cool. So definitely check it out. It's called The Last of Us. If you want to play the video game, it's called the same thing. If you want to read the scary news, just Google it. And because there's been a lot of scientists talking about it now. We even saw a video the other day. Like they're excited talking about it. They always assure you that it's not possible that it's going to happen. But when I read this NPR story, the scientist was like, well, when it comes to climate change and body temperatures, he says, while the prospects of fungus being able to manipulate human behaviors isn't impossible, it's not likely. The traits that the fungus have that allows them to attack an insect hosts are very specific to that insect, and it's not easily transferable to other species.
But things evolve.
Right. And then you also wonder, like, is anybody testing this fungus? Is anybody, playing around with it in real life to where they can manipulate it? We saw COVID and how many strands of COVID, just with the flu, there's so many strands of flu. People just think flu, but there's many strands to the flu.
Don't worry, we're not starting a conspiracy.
No, I'm not starting a conspiracy. I'm just telling you what I read. It's just interesting, and it makes me want to watch the show in more detail.
I actually want to replay the game, but I'm waiting until after I finish God of War.
If anything, maybe we should start our job and help reverse climate change as best as possible so we don't reach that potential of hot temperatures, and then our body temperatures can host a fungus that eats us and drains our blood.
That part.
I did have one more issue on the table, if I may.
Sure.
Bring it to task. If you listened to our last podcast, in Manny's Corner, I talked about the word Latinx. And I just wanted to briefly say that, I went in really hard on Sarah Huckabee Sanders and the Republicans. And then my fellow Democrats came and said, hold my drink. And they said, we got one for you, bitch. 5 Democrats in the state of Connecticut are now also leaning and holding conversations to remove the word Latinx from all government documents. And though one of the individuals, Geraldo Reyes Jr., who is a member of Congress, said that while Sarah Huckabee Sanders may have done it for the wrong reasons, he's doing it for the right reasons because he, as a Puerto Rican male, is offended by the word.
Okay. And so the right reason would be because he's offended.
Yes.
Okay.
He also cited that the Spanish dialect is over 1,500 years old, and then that adding the word Latin X is not needed because there's the word Latin and what was the other one? Latin American? Is that what I said earlier?
Mm-hmm.
So a gender neutral term such as Latinx is not needed. So at this point, I don't know who the fuck to stand behind anymore, because now we got Democrats trying to erase us and using loose stats to try to get rid of a word. Like, it's like you and I have always said, if it's not hurting you, why are we so focused on these things?
But it offends me.
I don't give a shit that it offends you. The word was never born with negative connotation, like some words that are out there that were born out of negative connotation. Latinx was born solely to be able to have an identifier for those who are non-gender, binary, whatnot. And he said that the word Latin should be. And I'm just like, sir, go sit your fucking ass down. So now I'm just like, I don't even know what to call people anymore. Do I just call them the wrongers? Or I don't know. I'm going to have to find a name for them. I stopped calling just Republicans and went MAGA Republicans. Now I got Democrats on this side of the aisle. Now they trying to erase us too, because the word offends them. It ain't hurting you.
I can't.
It ain't hurting you. Anyways, I just needed to take a rewind real quick from last week's episode because it just bothered me so goddamn much. Anyways. Well, let's move on. Moving on down to
where are we moving?
I know it's up, but I'm moving down the list of our podcasts today, our agenda.
Okay.
Moving on down to our corners.
All right.
Jeez, thank God. Guys, we're going to do a video podcast or a live one so you can see Shawn's eyes. The camera's just going to be on Shawn so you can see his eyes, because I feel offended by his eyes.
I'm nothing. Go ahead. I'm just trying to figure out things.
Well, welcome back to our corners. As always, I'm going to let Mr. Shawn start with his corner.
Am I going first all the time?
Whenever I feel like going first, I'll go first.
Oh, excuse me. Anyway.
I'm the principal.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to my corner. How y'all doing today? And could you stop laughing at my intro?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Much love. Thoughts and prayers.
So as much as Manny did a rewind for his issue, I'm also going to rewind for us.
Rewind.
So last week I talked about them wanting to erase us. And, I thought, okay, that's great. Not even a few days later.
Somebody say, hold my drink.
Here comes 45. That is what I call him because I refuse to call him by his actual name. But just so that you know who I'm talking about Donald Trump.
Oh, he really said, hold my drink.
He did. So he put out a video on Truth Social, that platform that he went to after he got kicked off of Twitter and Facebook, which I have still never visited, never will.
Isn't it curated by him and his team?
I have no idea. I don't care what's happening over there. I only saw this because a reporter posted it on Twitter. So basically, this happened on January 31st. He released the video with plans for himself and his administration if he were to win in 2024. Mm-hmm. He would like to pass a bill, and I'm going to get through these facts first before I read him his rights. He would like to pass a bill that falsely claims there are only two genders, male and female. He wants to reverse legislation for life-saving, gender-affirming healthcare.
Life-saving?
Life-saving. He wants to ban all education of transgender and non-binary issues in schools nationwide. He wants to ban transitioning for youth nationwide. He wants to sign an executive order to end programs for gender transitioning for all ages nationwide.
Including adults?
That's what all ages means.
Oh, Lord.
He would also like to criminalize and hunt doctors and educators who try to save transgender and non-binary lives.
Do you need a glass of water?
I'm okay. I'm all right now. So basically, what he would like to do is erase transgender, non-binary people from existing, period. At least in a legal sense. In a physical sense, who knows? We live in a different world nowadays, and anything is possible.
I mean, it would be very difficult to live as a trans person.
It would.
In that reality.
You basically wouldn't be able to legally be trans or non-binary or don't have a gender. And once again, just like with Latinx, I just don't understand why, if this bothers you, then let it bother you. A lot of things bother me. I don't want them to be outlawed. Mm-hmm. People annoy me when they walk outside with no shoes on. I look at you like you're crazy because there's dirt, there's rocks, there's glass, there's nails and screws. And I look at you, I'm like, I know you have at least flip-flops you could put on.
And then you walk up in your house, sit on the couch.
Or get in your bed, which is dirty.
All right, let's not get off track.
Sorry. But I don't think it should be illegal for these people to walk outside with no shoes on.
Right. That's your life.
That's your life. You do what you want to do. But to tell a marginalized group of people in this country, which is a country that's supposed to be free of both like religious persecution, personal persecution, like you should be able to express yourself in this country without someone arresting you. Mm-hmm. I always say, as long as you're not hurting anybody, I have no problem with it. I have no issue with it.
Facts.
Trans people, non-binary people have been here just as long as all the rest of us has been here. It's just not, it hasn't been something that has been brought to the forefront. There have been plenty of people, and some of those people I will talk about in Black history as we go on during the weeks, that have paved the way for these people to now be seen. And the more that the light shines on these people in the community, the more they want to dim it until they snuff it out. I am so tired of politicians just continuously trying to take away the rights of people that they already stomp all over. These people are doing nothing but trying to simply exist in this world. And God knows that's hard enough on its own.
Bitch.
I can't imagine what a trans person feels like going through their day-to-day life where they have to worry about someone clocking them in a store or in a restroom. Or, I mean, just the simple things that we take for granted that we're able to go out and do. They have to think so hard or be so brave to put themselves in these places and these situations. And it's so disheartening that we live in this country where we're supposed to all be free. And that is the one thing y'all all talk about is fucking freedom and fucking patriotism. But what does that actually mean?
You need to be male or female. I still don't know what religion they celebrate. Essentially, that's what it is. Oh, and follow their marching orders. It really is wild.
It is. And to top it off, he did this all in the name of protecting children, which is another thing that I'm so sick of y'all using children as the sacrificial lambs to condemn other people. You use it to condemn drag queens. You use it to condemn gay people because all gay men are pedophiles. You use it to condemn trans people because you say that you are mutilating, destroying a child's body. You're using puberty blockers. You're doing all of this. And they say that they're doing this to protect the kids. Minors can't walk up to a hospital and be like, hey, girl, I want to get gender affirming surgery. Yeah. They can't do that. You have to have your parents' permission. You have to go through a psychological evaluation. You have to live as that gender for a certain amount of time before you're even considered for the surgery.
And not to mention, it is not cheap.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know who in the hell would get this done overnight the way they paint that picture.
He also said that he would cut any federal funding or federal dollars that would go into providing surgeries for these people. I am just over y'all saying one thing and then doing another. All of y'all are hypocrites. You just continuously want to bring these people down for no reason other than you don't agree with it and you don't like it. Well, a lot of y'all do a lot of things that I don't agree with and I don't like, but I'm not sitting here saying lock you up or take away your rights.
Right. I don't there's so many other issues in this country that the complete focus on drag queens, trans people, LGBTQ community, abortions, like the amount of energy they pour into these things when we still have people living on the streets,
right,
is crazy to me.
So I'm just going to leave you with a quote from Casey Safarindi, who is the vice president of advocacy and government affairs at the Trevor Project. She just plainly said, doctors should be allowed to follow the decades-old evidence-based standards of care in supporting transgender and non-binary youth and their families without fear of criminalization. You should be able, because doctors are there to take care of people. They're there to take care of patients. Like, doctors now have to make a choice sometimes whether they give a patient care that will save their lives versus them potentially facing charges and being sent to jail. Is this the world we want to live in?
I mean, it's putting medical professionals in a terrible place because some may not even want to do anything with it because they don't know if they're going to be the next ones in jail.
It's not only the gender affirming surgeries, it's also abortions. Like, there are so many pieces of red tape now where doctors are confused to what they can and can't do. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, if we're trying to do life-saving measures, you don't have time to let me go consult the hospital lawyers real quick, right, to make sure that I can save your life.
Right. Yeah, it's getting wild. And I keep bringing it back to so many other issues in our country. But for some reason, the LGBTQI community is front and center, right along with female reproductive rights. It's just like, if we were don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this is still okay, but if we were in a perfect country where everything was running smooth and then they took up something like this, then I'd be like, okay, there's nothing else to fuck with. I'm not supporting that still, but I'm just like, there's millions of things in this country alone that can be fixed, but we continue to just put this attack on the LGBTQI plus community for no reason. For no reason.
No reason at all. But that's my corner. I hope I've shed some light on some things for y'all. Like, if you know people that would vote for this man, I can't, there's no tax cut big enough. There's no spending bill. There's no deficit big enough that would allow me to vote for this man knowing that he wants to erase a certain group of people. I just couldn't do it. But that's me. Do what you do. What's your corner about?
Well, it's that time. Turn up the volume. Get closer to your ears.
Oh my God.
Welcome to Manny's Corner. So, yeah, my goal is to always make that sound crazy. So I wanted to focus on something positive because we've been talking so much politics lately. We know it's important. And again, I think I said it last pod. It's not so much politics, it's just things that are affecting us that comes out of politics. So for my corner, I wanted to focus on something positive. So I literally Googled positive news. And there's a whole website called positive.news. And really a bunch of great stories there. The story I'm bringing you today comes to you from all the way from London.
Ooh. Cheerio.
Cheerio. I keep looking at this pronunciation because I do not want to fuck it up. I don't know how to say it.
Sound it out.
Islington. It's a London borough. Islington. I don't know. I practiced this last night. I don't know how many times, but clearly I did not retain it. But anyways, the important part here is that in this particular borough in London, they are investing money back into the community at the sound of 1.6 million pounds or 1.9 million US dollars. This program is not only helping the community, it's doing something very unique. They included 5 barbers in a 4-day intensive seminar. And what the seminar helped them was to prepare them to talk and listen to customers about mental health issues. Within the seminar, they were going to be able to learn how to identify warning signs and how to provide support and resources so they can get the assistance they need. Now, you and I go to barbershop and we know all the conversations that go on in barbershops.
Yes, a lot.
There's all kinds of conversations. A barber really does get into conversation with you to where I feel like they're a friend that's not a friend, but they know your life.
Right.
And I know there's a lot of machismo in barbershops as well. I see it all the time on social where it's like, oh, walking into the barber trying to act macho because they're maybe more of a feminine person. But they, in London, in this particular borough, are convinced that this community approach to helping mental health is going to help the Black youth or the older Black generation in this particular space. One of the stats they quoted was school expulsions are done by 2/3 of the Black pupils compared to their white counterparts. So they're being expelled or facing some kind of, I don't know what the word is, you got in trouble, than over their white counterparts. In general, it's also said that people of Black descent in England tend to feel that they are treated with less courtesy because of their ethnicity. So, obviously, racism's everywhere, right? It's not just here in the US. But then you have a program like this that is made to train these, and I know it's only 5 barbers, but they're able to speak to these young men and help maybe identify when they are in crisis or when they are just needing a resource to help them. And it's not just for young men, it's also for just traditional people that are in the chair, right? Any age group. So I thought this program was really cool because it's a way to, we talk a lot about community health and reaching the communities that we live in and providing those resources of mental health and such. But this is such a unique way to do it because people tend to open up in a chair at the barbershop. I've heard things where I'm just like, you could have kept that in your mouth. And usually when I'm sitting in a barbershop, I'm just listening to everybody's conversation.
Same.
But it's such a unique way to provide mental health services to communities. And when I think about all the infighting that's happening here in the US about get rid of this and get rid of that word and do this and do that, I'm like, $1.9 million invested into this program. And of course, it's not just for these 5 barbers. There's the investment extends to schools. It also helps train, police officers in cultural competencies. And it also extends to social care and teachers.
Okay.
So they are making an effort to not only have these 5 individuals, I believe they're not all at the same barbershop, trained to identify potential mental health risks or be able to provide services, but they're also training their police, teachers, social care workers on cultural competencies and how to also identify health risks in mental health world. And when I think about here in the US, I'm just like, mental health didn't even become a topic of conversation until the pandemic.
No.
And even then, I don't think companies are offering much in that space.
No. And it would go a long way to, especially for, police officers, teachers, to see the signs, know the signs, be able to get that person, help or point them in the right direction, because that is sorely needed here in the United States.
Another stat they said was the inequalities, according to authorities, amongst Black men leads to a 17 times more likely to be diagnosed with a serious mental health illness, not just a little anxiety. We're talking about a serious mental health. So this program to me was like, wow, there is good still happening in this world. And it's not to say that maybe there's a small town somewhere here in the US might be doing that, but it was so great to just Google good news. And this came up because you and I are so much about mental health, and seeing it delivered in such a different way, I think is great. I think there should be more of that, and not just barbers. Extend it to, I don't know, people that do your nails or something. Like,
everybody.
Like, if we have more people trained to able to identify those signs, my goodness, that would be awesome, to where we can get people the care they need before it gets to the point where they have so many mental issues that it's hard to revert back, or in the last straw, unfortunately, ending their life. So that was my positive news for the week. I really wanted to talk something positive. I thought this was so cool. I'm like, I want to move over there and help with this program. And when I saw the amount of money, I was like, holy Jesus, $1.9 million.
That's good. They actually care about, developing that program to make it useful. Like, you have to put in money in the resources to get out the result that you want. So I applaud them for putting this program together and enrolling the people that they enrolled into it.
Yeah, it's part of, they have a fund called the Violence Reduction Act, and it was also in partnership with the National Health Services in the UK. So a combined effort to help combat mental health. Yay!
Yay!
Well, that was my corner. And this week, we're going to introduce one final segment for the remainder of our pod life. Nah, it'll probably change. This final segment is called The Last Word.
Okay.
Do you have any last words for our listeners before departing today?
So this week, February 1st.
What's your last word?
The beginning of Black History Month. Beyonce officially announced her Renaissance World Tour. We knew it was coming. We just didn't know when it was coming. And so the world was like, ooh, let me get tickets. And then you went to Ticketmaster and they were like, hold up.
You don't love you like I love you.
You need to register.
Slow down.
In order to do this. And so I learned that this is something that they're doing to avoid what happened with Taylor Swift by having people register. They're doing time slots. So not everybody is on Ticketmaster at the same time. You have to specify what date and city that you want to go to. And then you're put into like a lottery. And hopefully you get picked to buy tickets. Will it go well? Who knows? I do know that even the congressional committee tweeted them and were like, we're watching. Because
don't fuck up.
We know what happened with Taylor Swift, and they've been in trouble ever since that happened. And Beyonce is bigger than Taylor Swift.
Oh,
so
shade.
There's no shade. They've already said that the amount of interest exceeds how many tickets they have. So there's already...
I want to be in the room where it happens.
There's already going to be issues.
Oh, Lord.
But anyway, that's what I'm living for. Crossing my fingers that next week I get the email that say, yes, you got an access code. But even then, apparently, you're not guaranteed to get tickets.
Oh, my God.
So...
her tour ain't even long enough. She need to add some more dates.
Looking forward to that. That's my last word.
Well, thank you. Well, my last word is Missy Elliott was recently nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Saw that.
Snaps from Missy Elliott. She is the first female rapper nominated. And she's also the first, well, I don't know if it's the first person, but she was nominated on her first year of eligibility for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. If inducted, she'd be the first female rapper inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
And she deserves.
Most definitely deserves.
She's a legend.
She's a legend. So I say to you, vote.rockhall.com. Go in there. You can vote daily for Missy Elliott.
Wait, what was that website again?
Vote.rockhall, ROCKHALL.
Okay.
.com. What do you think I said?
I don't know. I couldn't decipher what you said. I was like, that's a lot of words. Those words.
I know. But go vote for Missy Elliott. I'm excited for Missy Elliott. I remember, growing up on Missy Elliott music. She's always been a banger, game changer in music.
And we need another album, Missy.
Yeah, that EP you dropped was
cute, I guess, but like we want a full
album, and then I want to see you on a stage.
Yes.
I've never seen Missy Elliott before.
I haven't either.
Besides a music show.
She's been on tour before, to be honest.
Really?
I don't know.
Oh, shit.
I can't remember. Anyway.
Well, that's my last word for this week. Go out and support Missy Elliott because is it worth it? Let me work it. Yes. Anyways, that's going to bring us to the end of another episode here at the Moss Podcast. And y'all, we got social and you should follow us.
Yeah, you can follow us on Instagram at Moss_podcast.
Or you can follow us on the Trainwreck Twitter and the Chinese Conspiracy TikTok at Moss_podcast22. I mean, that's what people are saying.
You can email us at Manny and Shawn at gmail.com, MANNYANDSHAWN. And
if you like to get your podcasts on YouTube, but were listening to us on a streaming service for some reason, we have a YouTube as well. It's youtube.com/@MossPodcast. And you should still follow it because we're in the works to produce a very extensive, visually appealing episode on our Virgin Voyages. And we think you should check it out.
Agreed.
Anyways, follow it. Follow. PodFam, don't forget to follow our podcast on your favorite platform to receive alerts when our new episode is out. You can find us quickly by typing in Manny and Shawn.
And don't forget to rate and write a review, which will help grow our pod.
And as we say here on the Moss Podcast,
do something good for yourself.
Then do something good for someone else. We did that. We did that. We're getting so effortlessly at this.
So effortlessly.
Effortlessly. Is it worth it? Let me work it. I put my thing down, flip it. Whoop, shit. Fucked it up. Damn.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. See y'all next week. Is it worth it? Let me work it. I put my what?
Thing down, flip it in reverse.
Thank you. I just wanted you to say it. Bye, y'all.
Wanna hear you go.